Boy, don't cancel out the fans, man. That adds to the effect of the whole situation. I done tore the push rails off the front porch.
Alright, we're back. So, going to show you some basic functions on the power settings. So, we'd already kind of talked about how the long press this here, let's see, where are our, that's our power settings there. Of course, they're off, which is basically around a 20 watt dead key to full swing of the radio. That's approximately 10 watts, up to probably maybe 20, 30, 40 watts. This here is pretty much stock, which is basically, it's about 3 or 4 watts, swinging to around 5 or so, just, the way it comes out of the box. So again, you've got this low, medium, and high power setting here. And we've already kind of talked about that. So, within each one of those parameters, you can adjust it. So right now, it's on the off part. So that would be the high power setting basically, okay? So what we want to do is, if we'd like to adjust that high power setting, what we can do is you key it up and then hit that button real quick, and then you've got 9 right there, and you can see on the power meter there. If I turn it up to 10, that's maxed out. Turn it down to 9, you can see the adjustability that I have there. That's going down to 6 watts there. 4, 3, 2. Okay, you can turn it all the way down to 2 watts. And I had it on 9. All the way on 10 is 22. That was 9. Now, so you want to go down to, whoops. So you want to go down to the almost stock setting there, the 4 watt one. On there. By the way, if you need it to time out of the menu, faster, you're kind of in a hurry to get it to time out of the menu, just hit your push to talk real fast. So once again, we're going to key up, hit that, and up there we are on the low end scale. There's the 2 watts. It's a 9. At 10, it's 3. You can turn that all the way down to 2 watts, and that's back up. Like that. Now it's going to go into my power settings here. Since I've been keying up, I want my fans to come on a little sooner. All right. Again, we'll go to our power setting, which is there. So we've already tried messing with it on the A4 there. We messed with it on the high power, so let's see what the middle does. We'll stay there. Get out of our menu. Key up, short press the button. That's at a 6. 7, 8, 9. We're up to 10 watts, or we can turn it down to almost 1 watt. So, once again, you choose whichever power mode or power level you want, whether it's the power off, the middle power. You just need to refer to this as high power. It's the high power or no limit, middle power, or low power. Whichever one of those you want to adjust, you make sure you're on that one. Select it out of the menu. Then it's a key up and a quick press of that, and that puts you into adjusting the parameters of your high, medium, or low. And the reason I'm going to refer to them as high, medium, and low is because in a minute I'm going to show you how to get into the service menu of this radio, and there are adjustments in there. Most of the adjustments in there are labeled high, medium, and low. When you start getting into the service menu, you have a high, medium, and low adjustment for your modulation, for the low power, for the high power, So we'll get into all of that in a minute. Alright, so I'm back, and so here's the deal. I'm going to show you how to get into the service menu, but then I got to change some settings on the camera, and I got to shut the lights out, because the service menu is like on full high, bright, and it washes the camera out. And if I have the camera on a setting where that doesn't wash out, it's, everything in the room is kind of dark and stuff. I'm going to have to fiddle with the camera settings a little bit so I can get everything with the service menu on there. But with that, I'm going to show you how to get into the service menu. So here we go. You want to turn the radio off. Grab the microphone. Push in your push to talk button. And while you're doing that, you want to push in your function button and the talk back button and hold them in at the same time while you're holding that. So hold your push to talk, function, talk back, and while you're doing that, turn it on. Wait for your blue screen. Release. You can release this button and release these as well. Hit your receive transmit button, your NRC button, and your Vox button. And Viola. That is your service menu there. There's probably some other service menus and other ways to get into these radios and do some stuff, but this is the only thing that's, as far as I know, that's beyond the regular menu. So, alright, now with that, as you can see, everything in here is all washed out. So I'm going to show you how to get in there one more time, and then I'm going to make it a little bit more romantic in here. So again, radio off. Push to talk. Hold in the function and the talk back button. Turn the radio on. Hold them in. Blue screen, release those, release that. RX, TX button, NRC button, Vox button, menu. So with that, I'm going to pause this, change some stuff around a little bit, and I'll be right back. Okay, well, here we are all nice and cozy. Like I said, gotta have it dark like this, otherwise this brightness just washes everything out. So, of course, like the rest of the menu options in the regular menu, these are all kind of numbered. I'm just going to go through the names of what they are down here. I went through all of these. There's 25 of them, 25 different menu options here in the service menu. The first three are listed TX, IQ, and then 1, 2, 3. Those are probably got something to do with their transmit frequency. I don't know. But what I'm going to do is all of them will show you a value number here. When you key up, you see that number that shows up right there. That's what all of them do. And then to change that value, you turn your channel selector. As long as you don't turn that channel selector, you're not going to change anything. If you turn that channel selector, make sure you turn it back to where it was. And if you don't, make sure it's keyed up, because when you let off, that's when you can't adjust it. So you gotta have this keyed up to turn it. And there you go. So the first one is TX IQ1. That value is 129. Same thing except 2. 163. TX IQ3. 187. FM Power Top. 114. FM power high, 65. FM power middle, 44. FM power low, 31. And again, all these have a high, low, medium, and then that top part, which is like the top, the very top of where you want it to go, and then you've got your parameters, you know, within that. FM power low, I think I already checked that, 31. FM transmission mod, or excuse me, that would be FM transmit modulation, 275. And again, this is where you might want to get in and set some stuff. Most of these values, like if I go back to the FM power in the middle, 44, it only went up to 52. So it was already pretty much up there. You start getting into like these modulation ones, that's at 275. But those things go up to like 400, 500, whatever. I'm not going to go all the way up and down through them, but those things have some range in them. So those, if you have your equipment or you know what you're doing or you need to adjust them, I could see how you might be able to get some out of there. But again, you probably need to know what you're doing a little bit to get in there and mess around with these. So FM transmit modulation, 275. AM power top, 120. AM power high, 90. AM power middle, 50. AM power low, 48. AM mod low, 156. AM mod middle, 175. Mod high, 160. AM mod top, 175. Sideband, single sideband DC top, 232. Single sideband DC high, 232. Single sideband DC middle, 232. Single sideband DC low, 116. Single sideband modulation low, 81. Single sideband modulation middle, 120. Single sideband modulation high, 143. Single sideband modulation top, 208. And then we're at the version. And then we're back to the TX IQ1 again. So that was all 25 of them. Once again, you can see, you know, wherever you needed to scroll to, and as long as you have the numbers written down, you know, if you have the equipment and you know what you're doing or know what you're looking for, you can probably play around with them a little bit, but I don't really see any reason to, you know, unless you're having a problem or someone's telling you that your modulation or something is weak, you know, or that something's not right, and you know, went through your power settings and your mic gain, you know, or if you maybe go in here and you see that the settings are, you know, way off from, you know, what this one is or what your average, you know, because this one's pretty much out of the box as far as all that goes. I haven't messed with any of that stuff in there, so you know, if you wanted to see if something's way off, you could do that. Otherwise, you really don't, probably aren't really going to need to get in there to do much. Everything you're going to need power adjustment wise is going to be in here. And just to show you kind of what I'm talking about here, we'll go into one of these power settings here. Let's see, FM power middle. We'll key up on that. And you can see that turning that up adjusted the power up, but it's already, you know, I think it's on what, 44? And it only goes up to 52. So, you know, yeah, you got a couple more watts out of it and it might put up more on that, but you know, again, these are all built in to kind of have a pad in them. You're only going to get a couple of watts out of it, and there's probably really no reason to go in there and mess around with it. So anyways, I hope that helps somebody. If you've got a radio that's absolutely not working and you need to get in there and see if the settings are anywhere near where they're supposed to be, or you know, if you know what you're doing and know how to do all that, but just needed to know how to get in there and access it, hopefully that helped you out. So, Shane, Gemini Garage.